Vivek Ramaswamy, thank you so much for coming on the show today. You and I both grew up as kids of Indian immigrants who loved to debate, super confident, perhaps overconfident in our views. But here's the difference. I kind of know my limits. You, on the other hand, having never held or even run for any elected office before, be it Congress or even school board, having not voted in 3 presidential elections in a row, suddenly now want to be president, go straight for the top job on planet Earth. Your critics would say that's the epitome of tech bro arrogance. What is your response to them? I get that you're an outsider. Personally, I like outsiders. Yeah. But what have you done that even qualifies you to be president of the United States?
So look, Mehdi, I have been taking on bureaucracies my entire life. I took on the bureaucracy of big pharma starting in my late 20s, at a time when I think pharma was corrupt and going in a lot of directions that they shouldn't have been. I actually built a multi-billion-dollar business developing medicines that pharma had abandoned. I took on the ESG bureaucracy, competing with firms like BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard to build a successful firm called Strive. Yes, none of that is in government, but it is in the private sector.
Do we think that you can persuade Vladimir Putin to drop his alliance with Xi Jinping? You have made truth the centerpiece of your campaign. So let's talk about your trustworthiness.
Yes.
For example, when CNN quoted you talking to The Atlantic about 9/11 and federal agents possibly being on the planes, you said the quote is wrong, actually. But the quote wasn't wrong. The Atlantic released the audio of what you saying exactly what they said you said.
Hold on,
let me finish the question.
Let me be crystal clear.
Let me finish the question.
The Atlantic released the whole tape. They refused to do it. Yep.
You said on Twitter Spaces last month that no, you had never supported Bernie Sanders' mask for all legislation, but you literally put out a tweet in July of 2020 calling it a sensible idea. You also said not once but twice in June and July that the first time you'd ever voted was in 2020 for Trump, but in fact the first time you voted for president was in 2004 for a pro-choice libertarian candidate. How can people believe what you say?
So, Mehdi, let me just go through one by one. The Atlantic, yes, purposefully spliced an out-of-context quote where we have challenged them. They released the tapes. We asked them for the tapes first. They didn't give them to us. They waited then to splice them and release them publicly. I challenged the Atlantic to release that entire conversation. And what was a conversation about how many federal agents were in the field.
You said was wrong. We all heard it. We can play it if you like.
No,
it is exactly word for word what she quoted to you. You said they put words in your mouth.
Look, if you want...
Viveck Ramaswamy is a smart dude, but, you know, I'm reading his Wikipedia page makes me want to commit suicide. You know, like, he's very accomplished. The dude knows how to make money. He got a lot of his money from building up companies and selling companies, trading, and he does a lot with pharmaceuticals and medicines. You know, a lot of black people in the hood constantly talk about being neighborhood pharmacists in the dope game. You know, there's a whole, the real money's in the real dope game, you know, the medicines and, you know what I'm saying, with the weird names like Biotrex and that's where that money is, you know what I mean? But still, he's running for a politician. He wants to be a politician, and you already know how that goes. Viveck Ramaswamy, from what I hear, he was somewhat of a liberal in college. You know, there's old clips of him saying happy Juneteenth and so forth, and people stitched together. You know, the guy, you know, he does a lot, he contradicts himself. Well, at least what he used to be. But he's also the master of deflection. I'm like, man, nobody deflects like this guy. This guy is, you know what I'm saying, he's like a talking roundabout, you know. Now, he's not going to give you, a lot of times he won't give you a straight answer.
On hard facts, here are hard facts. That day, The Atlantic printed it. I said, that looks like something that never captured the character of our conversation. Can you ask Atlantic for the tapes? They said they would refuse to release the recording to us. So when Caitlin asked me about it, I said, that does not at all sound like the context of what I said. And then, you know, it turns out The Atlantic releases a very...
Everybody should listen to it. You're putting words in my mouth.
It functionally sends the wrong message, Betty.
Oh, functionally. Okay. You could have said it out of context. You said
it was so badly taken out of context that it misled their audience. It was so badly taken out of context. It was basically a lie and it misled their audience. But ask The Atlantic to release it. So my view here is,
here's what I've learned.
The media distortion filters. Mehdi, if they are going to cut something before and after without the question of what the guy is that came beforehand, come on, why wouldn't The Atlantic? Why are they so reluctant to release the whole recording?
Maybe
Ask
because the
yourself
audio
answer to
they
that
released,
question.
you're still
Of course
denying
they're
you said
hiding
what's on the
something.
audio. Okay, let's ask you this question. Is Donald Trump,
it's a
as you
joke
say
that the
now,
media is going to selectively edit this, and this is the way this game is played. Politics is dirty. That's okay.
It's
I'm ready
not
for
edited,
it.
just to be clear. Is Donald Trump, as you say now, the best president of the 21st century?
Yeah, of the 21st century. Yes, he was.
Let me ask my question. Let me finish the question. Is Donald Trump, as you say now, the best president of the 21st century, who you say you want as an advisor and a mentor if you become president? Or is Trump, as you've said in the past in your books on Twitter, a, quote, sore loser who is a, quote, danger to democracy and who did, quote, downright abhorrent and egregious things on January the 6th? Which one is he, Viveck?
So to be crystal clear, between George Bush, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and Donald Trump, those are the presidents of the 21st century. Donald Trump is unambiguously, as judged by the results, the best president of the 21st century. Kept us out of wars, grew the economy. I give him full credit for that. I want to build on that foundation and take this country to the next level.
But you've also called him a sore loser who is a danger to democracy. Those are strong words.
Would I have made the same judgments that he has made at every step of the way? No, I will remind you that I'm running for U.S. president because I am best positioned to lead this country forward.
Can I ask you what they are, Viveck?
Yes.
You say he behaved in downright abhorrent behavior that makes him a danger to democracy. What was it that was downright? Tell me what he did that was downright abhorrent.
Let's actually be really fair to your audience. So on January 10th, 2021, thereabouts, days after that incident, I wrote an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal arguing that censorship was the real cause of what happened on January 6th. And asked in response, somebody asked me the question, are you, that's what I wrote. I'm giving you the facts of what I said. That's a hard fact. That was published in the Wall Street Journal. When pressed on, was that condoning what Trump did? My answer was no. There's a difference between a bad judgment and a crime.
And
we
you're
need to be
my
able to tell the difference in this country.
What did Donald Trump do,
in
your view, that was downright abhorrent? Second time
I think that the thing that I would have done differently if I were in his shoes is I would have declared re-election on January 7th.
I'll ask it a third time.
That's exactly the thing I would have done.
What did Trump do that was egregious, quote, downright abhorrent, and a danger to democracy? Can you just explain to our viewers? Your words.
So you're mixing two different quotes. But what did I think was reprehensible about what happened that day? Look, I think that the way a true leader should have handled that situation should have been to actually say, this is me running for re-election, not actually litigating what is already passed and behind us. And I would have done things differently. That is not a crime, though, what he did. And the reason I have been so vehement.
You keep saying what you would have done. I just want to hear from your mouth. No, unless you're scared of him, why wouldn't you say what he did that was downright abhorrent?
I'm not going to let you stitching together three things from different places to create a caricature. Do you want to have an actual conversation?
Yes, I want you to answer my question, Viveck. Three times I've asked it. What did Trump do that was downright abhorrent? It's a simple question. It's your words. It's on screen. What did he do that was downright abhorrent?
I believe that failing to unite this country falls short of what a true leader ought to do. That is why I'm in this race, is to do things differently than any prior president has done them. That's the hard truth, okay?
And that's what made him a sore loser and abhorrent. Yes, your words.
Well, the reality is none of that is a crime. And the reason I have been so vocal, is because when somebody actually prosecutes somebody for a bad judgment, and I've been clear,
I understand your objections to the litigation.
I would have made different judgments.
That's not why I asked.
That is a distinction we have to draw.
Understood. You say you are anti-identity politics, anti-affirmative action in a party that hates the Soros name, yet you accepted a Paul and Daisy Soros scholarship at law school that was specifically set up for the children of immigrants. It was an affirmative action scholarship, and your defense for that is that you didn't have the money to pay for law school, even though you'd already made over $1 million at the time and made another $2 million.
My defense of that is somebody gives you a merit scholarship at the age of 24. You take it. At the age of 24, somebody gives you a merit scholarship. You take it. I didn't say I didn't have the money. I said at a time when I had a lot less money than now. $50,000
you said
was still
exactly
useful to money to me.
You keep forgetting your quote. You said, when I didn't have the money.
So, Mehdi, I made this really easy for everybody. And I did this in the early weeks of the campaign. I released 20 years of tax returns.
Yes,
something that no presidential candidate, let alone somebody who's successful in business, has done. I challenge Democrats and Republicans alike, including the Biden family, to do it.
And when it comes to Donald Trump, it just seems like he's trying to cater to the Trump crowd or whatever. You know what I'm saying? The Trumpers or the MAGA crowd, because he knows that if Trump does not get indicted, he has no chance of being president. You know, I'm like, Donald Trump's mugshot only helped him. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to beat the Donald at this point. So he may be aiming, if Donald Trump doesn't get indicted, he may be aiming to be vice president. That's why he's very careful of not slandering Trump, you know, and so forth. But, you know, he's in the league and he wants that mega crowd. You know, that's why, you know what I'm saying, a lot of things he said, I'm like, he stated that Juneteenth, January 6th was a censorship issue, man. This is nuts. And then it's come to find out that this guy has accepted affirmative action goodies. You know, these same Indian motherfuckers, these Asian motherfuckers are mad at black people for forgetting anything. And they're accepting all kind of government goodies. They're accepting all kind of scholarships for their people. The Viveck has accepted an affirmative action scholarship for the children of immigrants. There's a scholarship set up. He got that. I can't get a scholarship for being a child of an immigrant. You know, the most I gotten was I was a child of a veteran, you know, because my dad was in the military or whatever, and that wasn't much, but it's something. But still, he got one, a child of an immigrant. You know what I'm saying? Wow. You know, I'm like, and these same people don't want black people to have anything, man. I'm like, I'm glad I saw this debate, because people say, oh, Viveck Ramaswamy, he's the real bad man, he's the bad man, or whatever, you know, just like they were Dick Wright and Larry Elder, you know, and so forth.